back on the road and roughly 200 kilometres west of Wilcannia, heading towards the outback town of Broken Hill. With a population just under 18,000, it's the largest town on my Barrier Highway trip and makes for an ideal place to stop over for the night. Join me as I look around Broken Hill and the outback town of Silverton. About half an hour outside of Broken Hill, I got absolutely smashed in this storm, which came out of nowhere. There was blue skies back in Wilcannia, and heading down the Barrier Highway, this just came up on the horizon, and within minutes it had turned into a torrential downpour, and it eventually disappeared as quick as it started. So after a long day of driving, I have made it to Broken Hill. You see the sign behind me, and I'm gonna check into basically a caravan park for the night and probably get a cabin just because it's still pretty hot. It's about 41 still, and it's the afternoon, and it's also been raining on and off. So there was a thunderstorm on the way here. I'm not sure if the video will pick it up, but I'll probably show you a little bit of Broken Hill this afternoon and probably a little bit tomorrow on the way to Silverton. So catch you guys in a bit. If you're visiting Broken Hill, I'd highly recommend checking out the Line of Load precinct or the Broken Earth complex. Just before you drive in, there's also the site of the original BHP offices and a remaining chimney. Broken Hill came into existence in 1883 after Charles Rasp discovered a large silver ore on the Broken Hill. The ore body that had been discovered turned out to be the largest silver and lead ore body in the world. From this, in 1885, the Broken Hill Proprietary Company, BHP, was founded. The Broken Hill would generate over $100 billion in wealth, propelling BHP to become the largest mining company in the world. With this, the thriving town of Broken Hill would grow into what you see today. So on this side, you've got a mining memorial,
And it's actually a pretty cool memorial. It's got a building and heaps of old equipment and things like that, the cages and the carts, all that kind of thing. And then on the other side, just over this pile of rocks and dirt, you've actually got an active mine down there. So I think there's still quite a few active mines here, and you do pass them as you come into the town. But very cool, and there's all lights around here as well. So I imagine at night, or even now, it looks pretty cool. Super modern. And then this is, I believe, the memorial for all the lost miners. So they got roses for each of the names, and then a lookout. So very cool. Equipment down there, trucks, diggers and things like that. And Vulcania, I believe, is out somewhere out there. So we came in on the opposite side of town. Actually, probably there's probably a better indication. So we've come from in the distance out here. And it's actually super windy. I don't know if you can hear it on the other shots, but you're actually really high up. So you're basically on top of Broken Hill, and it's probably the best spot in the city or the town. A lot of information, a lot of history, and some really cool old buildings and mine works as you come up. The lookout as well, so definitely worth a visit. It's probably the best thing here that I've seen, to be honest. Definitely worth a visit. So it's pretty interesting. There's a lot to see. So really good lookouts at the town, and a lot of history as well, with all the mine carts, cages, and heavy equipment and things like that. And it's probably 7:30 at night, and there's quite a few people up here as well. So there's 3 or 4 cars in the car park that have pulled up. So it seems to be definitely the spot in Broken Hill. And there's cameras and lighting all around, so I don't think you really have to worry too much here. Although, in general, I would say just to be careful around town. There's probably a few unsavoury looking characters walking the streets that I've driven past. So I imagine at night, this place probably gets a little bit rough in the wrong parts. So I'll show you some of the buildings on the way back down as well. Possibly before this. I'll see what I can get. It's going to pick it up, but you can hear the heavy equipment. I think that's a grader, or actually a mine, underground mine, bulldozer or something like that, scraper in the distance. So definitely active mine. So this is some of the original foundations of the BHP mill, and it's a pretty cool site. So this is the original foundations of the BHP mill, and it's a really cool site. Some really old stonework and brickwork all over the place, and you've got the old pieces of timber, which are probably over 100 years old. Would have been supports. And this is how you can tell you're in a mining town. There's all the bulldozers on the trucks going past down there. I don't know if you can pick it up.
With the sun setting, it was time to head back to the caravan park for a good night's rest. I stayed at the Broken Hill Tourist Park, which is just on the edge of town. It was pretty quiet when I was there, and I got a 2-bedroom cabin for $138 for one night. So I'll give you a quick look at it now.
So it's day 3, and I'm going to check out Silverton, which is about 25 minutes outside of Broken Hill. So not a long drive at all, but as soon as you get out of the town already, the landscape's changed and you're pretty much reminded you're in the Outback. So I'll go there, have a look around. It's meant to be just a small kind of mining town with some historic buildings and things like that. And I'll show you what it looks like once I get there. So there's a few signs around here, but they're pretty well worn. I can't read any of them. So I'll have to have a look once I get back home and see what these places actually are. But it's a heritage trail and it goes through some of the ruins. So I'll have a look around here, see what I can find. So this is the Silverton Heritage Trail, and it's basically just a bunch of abandoned buildings out in the outback. There's a lot of scrap cars and scrap metal and things like that. It's really cool. So this is probably the best parts of Silverton that you see in a lot of other videos. I'm just going to do a quick drive around and see what I can find here. It's super windy here today as well, so it stormed last night and the sun's come out, but it's a bit too windy to fly the drone and do that kind of thing, so I'll just have a look around with the camera and see how it goes. And the flies are absolutely killing me in here. It's very cool buildings. I'm not sure of the history, but I'll have a look at that once I get home and maybe put some facts down below or something like that in terms of what this building was and the building before as well. So definitely recommend it if you're coming past here. Check out Silverton. This is probably the most outback feeling abandoned town probably in the whole of New South Wales, I'd say. So very cool. And there's some unique construction going on here. So you got bricks stood vertically and then the rocks in between, and then there's a bit of concrete in sections as well, and then obviously the mortar or lime or whatever it is on the walls. So a whole mix of building styles in here, but it looks really cool. So I think this is a Chrysler or a Valiant. Could also be a Leyland P76. Toyota Cressida, not that old. And you've got the old Holden here, which I think is an EF or EJ or something like that. So I'm sure someone in the comments is going to school me on what these actually are, but that's my best guess, being a semi-car guy. But definitely a cool spot and a bit of a junkyard out here in the desert. So this is a half house, which was part of the St. Stephen's Anglican Church, and it's got a fence around it. But this looks like it used to be the church and some of the buildings. So unfortunately it's closed, as you can see, and it reopens on the 12th of March, so in a couple of weeks time. It would be very cool to check out. So it's Mad Max 2 Museum. Crossbow thing up there, a flamethrower, very cool.
A visit to Silverton wouldn't be complete without stopping by the Silverton Hotel. Built in 1884, the pub has outlasted the mining boom and become a must-see stop for travellers in the region. It's also starred in movies like Mad Max 2 and Razorback, and there's some memorabilia and tributes that pay homage to both films. This was just a quick stop, but by far this was the busiest place in the whole town. In the Outback heat, the beer definitely goes down easy at the Silverton Hotel. It was the busiest place in town, and for good reason. It's probably the only thing open on a Sunday morning. I finished up before getting back on the road. This point officially marks the end of my Barrier Highway 3-part series as I cross from New South Wales and into South Australia. Check out my channel for videos on the abandoned town of O'Leary and the Wakaringa homestead. For now, I'll catch you all on the next adventure. Thanks for watching.